Darkness hides in places you'd never expect. A motel mirror, a forgotten highway, a man with a lantern on Halloween night. These are not just stories, some say they're warnings. If you dare step into the dark with me tonight, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like and share your own chilling experiences in the comments, because the next horror story we tell could be yours. Story 1, Lantern Man Halloween Night 2024. I was 12 years old and for the first time no parents, no babysitters, just me and my best friend Eric running through the streets with pillowcases full of candy. At first it felt perfect, the kind of night every kid dreams about. But as the hours passed, the crowds thinned, the lights went out and the streets grew darker, colder, emptier. We wandered further than we should have, past neighborhoods we didn't recognize, until the houses looked abandoned, the sidewalks cracked, and the air felt heavier. That's when we saw him. A man, tall, thin, moving slowly, swinging an old lantern side to side. The flame flickered with every step, but his boots made no sound on the pavement. His hat cast his face in shadow, but once, just once, when the lantern swayed across his skin, I thought I saw a grin, long, jagged, splitting his pale face in two. Eric whispered, "Let's go back." But before we could move, the man's head turned toward us, slow, stiff, unnatural. His voice carried across the street, low and rasping, like dry leaves scraping the ground. "Children don't belong here. The dead don't like you wandering their streets." My stomach dropped. We backed away, trying not to run, but every time I looked over my shoulder, he was there. Same distance, same rhythm, the lantern swaying back and forth, back and forth. No matter how fast we walked, no matter how much we tried to turn corners or cut through yards, the glow was always behind us, steady, relentless, patient. We saw a porch light ahead, the only house with its light still burning. We sprinted, pounded on the door, and an old woman pulled me inside, slamming it shut behind us. Her voice shook as she whispered, "Don't look at him. Don't speak to him. That's how he takes you." I spun, breathless, reaching for Eric, but he wasn't there. The door was still closed, the night silent outside, yet somehow he was gone. I screamed his name, yanked the curtains open, and froze. Eric was standing in the middle of the street, perfectly still. The lantern man towered behind him, one bony finger pressed against Eric's lips. "Shh." The lantern light flared, bright enough to blind me for a second, and when it dimmed, Eric's face had changed. His eyes were black voids, his mouth open, frozen in a silent scream. Then, with a gust of wind, the lantern flame snuffed out. Darkness swallowed them both. I tore through the house, out the back door, but the street was empty. No Eric, no lantern man, not even footprints in the dirt. Just silence, and the sharp, choking smell of smoke lingering in the air. When the police arrived later, they didn't believe me. They searched the entire block, every yard, every alley. Eric was gone. All they found was his pillowcase of candy, soaking wet, sitting neatly in the exact spot where I'd last seen that lantern glow. It's been a year. Eric's family moved away, the house sold, but I can't stop thinking about that night. People in town whisper about the Lantern Man, a story they say has been told for decades. A drifter, a ghost, a hunter of children who stray too far on Halloween night. I used to think it was just a legend, but now every October, kids say they see a faint light drifting down empty streets, a lantern swinging side to side, searching. And sometimes, if you listen closely, you can hear a voice whisper, "The dead don't like children after dark." So if you ever see that flickering glow, don't look back, don't answer, don't stop, just run. Story 2. The Mirror in Room 6. In the summer of 2024, my cousin Rachel and I took a road trip across the Midwest. Late one night, tired and half lost, we pulled into a small roadside motel, the kind with flickering neon lights and only a few cars in the lot. The clerk at the front desk barely looked at us, just slid a key across the counter and muttered, "Room 6. The room was musty, the wallpaper peeling, the carpet damp beneath our shoes. But what caught my eye immediately was the mirror. It covered the entire wall opposite the beds, huge, cracked in the corner, and coated with a strange haze. Rachel laughed it off, tossed her bag on the bed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the glass was breathing. That night I woke to a soft tapping sound. Tap, tap, tap. My eyes adjusted to the dark, and that's when I realized the sound was coming from the mirror. I sat up slowly, the room quiet except for Rachel's steady breathing. I stared into the glass, heart racing. At first it was just my reflection staring back. Then behind me, another figure appeared, a woman standing in the corner of the room. But when I turned, nothing, just empty space. I looked back at the mirror. She was closer. Her hair was black and stringy, hanging over her face, her skin gray, wet, like she'd been pulled from a river. She raised her hand and dragged her nails slowly across the inside of the glass. That tapping sound again, sharp, deliberate. I tried to wake Rachel, but she wouldn't move no matter how hard I shook her. She just kept breathing shallow, like she was trapped in a dream. My own reflection began to blur, the woman's face growing clearer until her lips curved into a smile that didn't belong in this world. And then she pressed her hand flat against the mirror, palm to palm with mine, only a thin sheet of glass between us. The surface was ice cold, and for one horrifying second I felt her fingers move. The mirror shuddered, rippled like water, and her hand started pushing through. I stumbled back, screaming for Rachel, but she just lay still, eyes fluttering, lips moving, as if whispering to someone I couldn't hear. The woman climbed halfway out, her face inches from mine, dripping, her teeth broken and black. She whispered, her voice wet and hollow, "Room 6 is mine." I grabbed Rachel by the shoulders, yanked her off the bed and dragged her out the door. We didn't stop running until we hit the parking lot. When I turned back, the light in room 6 flickered, and for a split second I saw her, standing at the window, grinning, her hand pressed to the glass. We sped away, swearing never to talk about it again. But 2 weeks later, Rachel called me, her voice shaking. She'd found something online, an old news article about the motel. In 1982, a woman drowned in the river behind it. Guests in room 6 began reporting nightmares, whispers, and shadows in the mirror. A few even vanished in the middle of the night. The motel shut down for years, only reopening recently under new management. Rachel paused, her breath uneven. "Guess what?" she said. "That motel doesn't even have a room 6 on their website. It skips straight from 5 to 7. So if you're ever driving late, desperate for a cheap place to stay, and they hand you a key that says room 6, don't take it. Some mirrors don't show reflections. They show doors." Story 3. The Lost Exit. It was September 2024, and I was driving back to college after visiting my parents. Midnight, empty highway, nothing but headlights carving through endless dark. My GPS glitched, the screen froze, then suddenly recalculated, "Take the next exit." I didn't remember there being an exit on this stretch of road, but sure enough a faded sign appeared, barely visible, pointing toward Ashford. The letters were rusted, the paint peeling, but relief washed over me. I needed gas, food, anything. The off-ramp curved too long, too sharp, and when I reached the bottom, the air felt wrong, silent, heavy, like the world above had vanished. The road led into a small town. Street lamps glowed dim orange. Houses lined the sidewalks, but every window was dark, every door shut. No cars, no people. Just rows of hollow homes watching me. I pulled over at a diner. The sign buzzed faintly, the door unlocked. Inside, the booths were set, plates of half-eaten food still on the tables, coffee cups full but cold. A jukebox in the corner flickered, stuttering through a single line of an old country song over and over. Then I heard it, a chair scraping. Footsteps, slow, dragging, coming from the kitchen. I backed toward the door, but the kitchen door swung open. A man stepped out, tall, skin ashy gray, eyes completely white. His jaw hung slightly loose, twitching, like he was trying to speak, but couldn't. Behind him, more figures shuffled out, women, children, all the same. They turned toward me in unison, silent, waiting. I bolted out, sprinted to my car, jammed the key in the ignition. As the engine roared, I saw them through the diner windows, dozens of them now pressed to the glass. Pale hands slapping the surface in perfect rhythm. I tore down the empty streets searching for the highway, but every turn led me deeper into Ashford. The GPS repeated one phrase, distorted, metallic. "You have arrived at your destination. over and over, louder each time. Then I saw it, the exit ramp, my way out. I floored it, racing toward the sign. But as I reached the bottom of the ramp, my headlights caught something painted across the asphalt in dripping red letters. No exit. The road ended in a wall of trees. The figures were behind me now, dozens, maybe hundreds, pouring out of the streets, out of the houses, crawling on hands and knees, their white eyes glowing in the dark. I reversed, swerved, tried every road, but the town twisted itself, dragging me back to the center square. And there, in the middle, was a gas station. Pump lights flickering, the door wide open like it had been waiting. My GPS fell silent. Then, in a voice that wasn't mine, it whispered, "You live here now." I don't remember leaving. I don't remember sleeping. But some nights, drivers on the interstate swear they see headlights on that lost exit, leading down to a town that isn't on any map. A town where the streets are always waiting, and the people inside are hungry. So if your GPS ever reroutes you to Ashford, don't take the exit. Keep driving, no matter how tired, no matter how lost, because once you go down, you don't come back.